How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm doing a bit of a smaller mission. I fancied an excuse to go and take this Transtar thing out because they added, was it raised suspension? But obviously it's a highway truck, so it struggles a little bit. So yeah, for this mission, I'm going to cut across like I'm heading towards the Yellow Brick Road gateway, but then there's a semi-trailer there with 5 bricks that you've got to deliver, which I've got to pretty much drive down roads after that, albeit some flooded out ones. So yeah, I figured I'd take that. At first, I was bringing a loaf to see how well this thing can actually pull with the loaf, because obviously all the decent trucks, I don't know, the Tiger I've just drove past, etc., they can pull it like with no real issues, but this thing, I mean, it's always going to inherently struggle a little bit. There's a little glitch going on there. But it was a good chance to see how it goes. The other thing I wish they'd just sort by now is, obviously with the American vehicles, we don't have mud tyres. So even the chained version on this is like the chained all-terrain maybe, or the off-road ones. Whereas yeah, all the Russian stuff, if they've got the chained, get like mud versions of chained for the most part. So I'd much rather them. They're definitely by now. Why on earth they haven't added bloody mud tyres? It's like an entire category of tyres in this game, and yeah, half the vehicles in the game don't even ever get a look in. See how bad that snow is though, around this section here, just back there as well. The loaf was like handy for, in this situation, if I had to go more off-roading, I'd keep the loaf with me for longer. Now's a good example where like the loaf can creep forward and give me a boost, even though that's a tiny patch of snow, because I've only got power going to that rear bank of axles. It only takes like, you know, yeah, a couple of foot of bad terrain, slippy terrain like this snow that's ridiculous, and that's it. You've got no other. That's kind of like what the Twin Steer used to suffer with a little bit, where it's for the length of the truck especially. Yeah, just no drive going to the front. I certainly think it'd be cool if they did an all-wheel drive version of this, because yeah, it's got certain elements about it that I do like. That's why I disconnected the loaf now, just to see if it'll actually like wind its way up quicker in high gear, which it does, which pretty much tells me like it's not got enough. Yeah, well, it didn't have enough engine like probably grip as well, because again, if you've only got the 2 rear axles that are powering it, it's only basically got 4 wheels on the floor gripping. So yeah, it's not really going along a road, you'd pull the loaf along fine. But I could have also, one thing I will say about this as well, you can add quite a lot of add-ons to it. You can even add the sideboard to it, which is pretty decent for this sort of truck. I kind of, you'd think they wouldn't let us have that. So I could have put the loaf in the sideboard, but yeah, I'm going to go and get the semi-trailer. But anyway, yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. 2021, what a year. What a time to be alive. And I assume most people probably won't be too sad to see the year go. Again, for me personally, it just went as a bit of a blur in the end, which is probably for the best. But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the nights, or yeah, well, yeah, nights really, innit? I'll be honest, I do sod all for New Year's. Yeah, when I was like teenager, I suppose going out like on my 18th, or when I was 18 that year, and that. Do you know what? I actually have no memory whatsoever. I probably did go out because I can't remember it for shit to save my life. Like, I have no idea. But yeah, ever since then, maybe have a couple of drinks, but this time I didn't even do anything. I have for some weird reason, considering I stay up at night, I always get really tired on New Year's Eve. And I did again today. It's near enough falling asleep on the sofa at like 12:30. Which is, yeah, again, it's like dinner time for me. This thing, by the way, it's cutting across the first half of that river. It was a little bit sketchy because there's like a few semi-muddy areas that, yeah, can bog you down. And again, all it is because the rear of the truck is trying to push. It's like a shopping trolley at the front. It's just got wheels that are jiggling around, but they have no power. So instead of them rolling over terrain, you've kind of got to push them through from the back, and it's a bit, yeah, they tend to like dig in and scuff into the mud a bit more rather than like, yeah, having power to them. See, little bits like now as well, that's where it'll get you. So I certainly won't be bringing this thing out a whole lot, because yeah, there's not too many chances. I'd also say, given that little bit of snow I touched a few minutes ago, that wouldn't even yeah, I just stopped dead, which it even did with the P16 and that the other week. I probably won't be using this thing much, especially on the yellow brick road map. Just when I was looking around tonight, I nearly did a different mission, building a one of the bridges on the yellow brick road map. Went out with the Navistar. It just kept, like, I ended up tipping, but then I recovered the Navistar, but then it deleted some cargo, and I don't know, it was just in the end I was like, abort again. Abort mission. I was like having a little look around, and when I seen this mission I was like, oh, actually would be a good excuse to try this thing out. It's probably one of the only missions I'm going to get the chance to, where it's got any hope in hell anyway. So yeah, this is already laying there. The mission is like you got to deliver 5 bricks, but also the trailer. But it lets you keep the trailer in the end, so it doesn't actually like take that off you. And then yeah, now like I said, it's highway driving. So as far as like this now is all good. One thing I do like about this truck, it's got nice steering. Like it steers nice anyway. I think all the highway trucks do. They drive well on the highway, which makes sense. At least that was some advantage that they had. But it's rare you ever get a map where you're not at least going to have to hit sections like this. Now, in this truck's defence, loads of stuff goes painfully slow through those bits regardless, as if there is just some inherent speed cap, speed limit thing just set on that like area of terrain, and it doesn't really let you go above that. I noticed that the current sort of keeps going back and forth. This one, it's going now on the screen right to left. All the other ones I went through, mostly I think it's going the other way. That's why I just swung at a weird angle at the last second, because preferably if you can enter, yeah, you don't want to enter downstream and have to try and fight upstream in a way. You kind of want to enter upstream, and then at least, even if you're getting stuck and going pretty slow, you can kind of steer into the current sometimes and get a little bit of a boost. But it wasn't having it. It's just, yeah, without that extra front tyre for the grip. Especially, the reason why I think it'd be nice on this truck to have all-wheel drive is because it's a cab over. There is just like the entire cab sat above those front wheels, which would be quite nice weight wise. Just, yeah, it's gonna be pushing those front wheels in quite nicely. That's just that last little bit of pull you need. It's a little bit like the, I can't even remember what it's called now. Is it the Zix, the little thing? I just called it the off-road snail. I can't remember what it's called since then. Like the little Russian four-wheeled thing with big fat snorkels that stick over at the back that look like a snail's eyes. Yeah, I'd probably still rather take that, because that's a cab over and it's got the weight at the front and all the rest of it, and it actually has drive going to it. Do you know what? I've not drove that truck for bloody ages as well. Might have to see if there's another little simple mission to bring that out. To its credit, I cut a lot out there because it was bloody slow across here. It was taking like a couple of minutes, which I thought there's no point in just watching me go 0.1 miles an hour for a few minutes. But it did actually get from one side to the other without the current pushing me far enough to just be actually hitting that crash barrier. You can just see at the bottom of the screen. What truck did I come through here in the other week? I think it might have been the ANK Civilian, and that got washed over enough to where it didn't matter in the end, but I was like pretty much pinned up against that barrier by the current. I was still able to get out there. The current was pulling this at first. For the first bit of the video when I went into that water, I was steering hard left the entire time, and it definitely didn't even ever steer me left. If anything, it was pushing me slowly to the right, which again, if there was power going to the front wheels, it'd claw the front end round, whereas just steering with no power, especially against the current, it was having none of it. And then now for this river section, really it's sort of, the current's more coming at you. It's going diagonally across the road, but, and right now I was pretty happy with this. Like, oh, this is decent, I can live with this, especially that the current sort of coming at me. It makes you feel like a little bit more, you would be slowed down in that situation. And you could tell from the lamppost telegraph pole thing on the right how quick I was making progress. Just after I edited there, it absolutely stopped. Not completely dead, but again, like 0.1 mile an hour, if that. Probably just edited another 2 minutes out. In the end, there was like certain winch points along the way which I kept trying to winch as far back on my trailer as I can, and then do it forward to like a dead tree next to me and all that, and just had to keep doing that really. And like I said, it's definitely, this thing ain't the best suited to this sort of like cutting through these sections, but yeah, I've been through these sections in like the Zix, the Dolphin, The Dolphin did pretty well in some of them. But yeah, you just get inherent patches where once you slow down, the game just physically won't let you go any faster. Trying it in the low range, that was not too bad. It's at least still got enough power going into it to where the wheels aren't like juddering and jerking like again, what was it? Oh yeah, it might have been that Taiga I think I was driving, which I'm surprised to be honest. That feels like it's got plenty of power. I mean, this truck, it's got a lot of power. I think one thing that this suffers with is it's just a very small truck. I quickly cut across here at the last second. Right now, I could not see the screen because I was my cat jumped up and he was like standing on my chest, walking around in the way of what I could see. So right now, I was just blindly squeezing the throttle. Should have had the Stevie Wonder truck out, and yeah, just pinning it. And it was about now. I was trying to look over his bloody tail. I was like, eh. But to be fair, it motored through the first portion of that better than I thought. Like I say, it's got decent power and all the rest of it, but just because it's quite a small vehicle, even the tyres, I think the tyres that are on it are 42-inch tyres, and they're the biggest, obviously. Like they're just pretty small for this game in general. Everything's been designed to be an issue for tyres that are like a good 5 or 10 inches bigger, so it does struggle out. If you compare, say, this to the, I don't know, Harold, I call him, the Ford Clip 9000. It's the same kind of truck, really, but it's just bigger, and because it's bigger, it's got more weight, slightly bigger tyres, and it's just has a little bit more command over the situation. This thing is, yeah, it feels like it's been shrank down a little bit. And that's why I think out of the two, like the Clip 9000 thing, I wouldn't say no to all-wheel drive, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I think it's can handle it more without it. This thing's just a little bit, yeah, need something like a lot bigger. That's what she said, of course. But we finally got through all them, plain sailing from here. I've not really gone through this town a hell of a lot, to be honest. So eventually you can get moving. I think, I can't quite see with the gears, it eventually can get up to 8 out of 8th, even with cargo, which some trucks don't necessarily do. But I think, was it along here? Yeah, it wasn't really climbing up the gears that quick. I mean, again, I'd consider like the two highway trucks now, really, this and the Ford Clip 9000. The GMC is just, it's kind of been made into, it's the same ballpark as, you know, the Taigas, the Vorons, just all that sort of stuff, the White Western Star. It's definitely pretty decent these days with the all-wheel drive and all the rest of it. But yeah, this and the Ford is like the proper highway cabovers, and I still think I'd choose the Ford. Gotta go for that clip. Yeah, drop these off. I was looking like that building in the background, and then you got that little thing that says grocery store. Like, goddamn, personal space grocery store. Look at the size of the entire map and all the free space. And he builds his little shop about fucking 2 foot away. I would not be impressed if I owned that big fat building. Yeah, you get £5.5 for the missions, not a hell of a lot, but you do get to keep the trailer, so if you could be bothered driving that back to the garage, which I can't, of course, yeah, you'd get 10-11 grand for this mission, so that's pretty decent considering you didn't even have to collect the cargo. It was already loaded in the trailer and all sorts. I just parked it there and dumped it. But yeah, like I say, that's about it for today though. Again, Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you have had a good end to 2021. Hope you had a good start to 2022. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf, of course, because why wouldn't you? And I'll be back soon.